Welcome to another whiteboard training video. I'm Isaiah Hankel with Cheeky Scientist. Today I'm talking about the interview questions that are related to business concepts that most PhDs bomb. So if you have a PhD, if you're not prepared in terms of business concepts, business acumen, if you don't have any industry experience, you might bomb these interview questions. I'm going to go through the top 5, the ones you definitely need to know no matter who you're interviewing with. And not just for a site visit, but video interviews and phone screens as well. All of these topics are covered in our free materials that you can get access to by going to phdsgethired.com and putting your name and email address. phdsgethired.com. Number 1, what company culture do you work the best in? Now, as a PhD, you're probably taking this very literally, as in, if you study this exact question, but you don't hear this exact question, it's not the same. You can't give the right answer. Not true. There's many forms of this question, okay? So it's a company culture question. That's the business concept at play. Company culture. You probably haven't been thinking about company culture, even though you have a lot of experience with culture. Maybe you work in a lab, a classroom. Either way, every individual lab, every individual classroom has its own culture. Have you ever walked into somebody else's lab, a friend's lab, to go get them for lunch, or somebody else's classroom, where people and students were there? Maybe you proctored another classroom or exam. How did it feel? Something probably felt different, probably felt off, right? Just the fact that in another lab, people stored their coffee mugs and had to take off or put on little booties on their shoes, and you didn't, that is a cultural difference. Culture is the how you get things done. So think corporate strategy is the what needs to get done at a company. Culture is how it gets done. And what employers want to know, especially the frontline employers, hiring managers and recruiters who usually don't have PhDs, they want to know if you're going to be able to fit into the company culture, the team, and get things done the way in which they get things done. Okay, culture is how you get things done. It's also how you feel on a day-to-day basis. If you've ever hated going into your lab or the classroom, that feeling has to do with the company culture. If you ever were really excited to work when you woke up, if you ever really enjoyed working with the team, that's company culture. An employer's biggest fear is that you're going to come into their organization and disrupt their team. So they're always going to ask you, what kind of teams do you work best with? That's a culture question. What kind of company culture do you fit in best with? Where have you fit in well in the past? What businesses, what business structure, what processes make you feel the most comfortable? How do you like to work? All company culture questions. You need to study this, and you need to do informational interviews to figure out what the company culture is before you even show up. We can talk all day about culture, but think of it as more than just what people wear. It's also the power structures, the processes, if people call each other between offices, if they go visit each other in person, if they use Slack or a project management software or instant messenger, if they communicate by email. Again, the how is what company culture comes down to. You will be asked about it. Number 2, where do you see yourself in 1 to 5 years? So many PhDs bomb this question, okay? The answer is not to say, I see myself in management. Because what you're saying to the other person, especially a frontline person, such as a hiring manager or recruiter, is, I want to manage you. I want to be your boss. Okay? It's much better to say, I see myself in a leadership position. Write that down. I see myself in a leadership position. Then you want to talk about how your career goals, your 1 and 5 year career goals, align with the company's 1 and 5 year goals. Okay, that means you need to understand where the company's headed. What are the company's goals? They're likely on the company's website, so do your research. Ask questions during the interview, at the very beginning of the interview. Where's the company headed? Where do you see this department or this role in 1 to 5 years? Try to get ahead of this question because they're going to ask you it. Okay, so during the small talk phase, during the initial interview questions, during the phone screen, this is a great time to ask the question of, where do you see this department? Where do you see this individual position? And of course, the overall company in 1 to 5 years. So you're prepared to align your answer to this question to where the company's headed. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're not lying or changing your response to be exactly where the company is headed, but you want to make sure that you're matching up your goals with the company goals because that's what they're looking for as well. And that's what you should be looking for too. Number 3, how will you increase profits here? So many PhDs get a question like this and they are dumbstruck. They have no idea. They're like, I'm coming in for an R&D position. Profits? What are profits? lot of PhDs don't know what they are. They know that they have to do with money, right? And profits have to do with how much money the company has. But a lot of PhDs don't even understand how a balance sheet works. They would not be able to talk intelligently about revenue versus profits. And of course, this question could be rephrased to say, how will you help us increase revenue? So revenue is top line, profits are bottom line, or one of the bottom line items. You need to understand the basics here. Most importantly, you need to understand how your role fits in at the company and the company's overall goals of increasing revenue and profits, okay? So how does R&D increase companies' sales? How can R&D increase profits, right, which is sales minus expenses? This is oversimplified, but it's important for you to know. You can think about it this way. Well, you're going to be testing and coming up with new products. If one of those new products goes to market, it's going to increase sales because the sales team is going to have something new to sell. All right? If a new drug is going through clinical trials and it gets to market, it increases sales. Also, you can't be too wasteful in R&D. This is something you really need to understand because it's very different than academia where money is just used to explore different ideas and options and knowledge for knowledge's sake. In a company, the money is supposed to be used for a very specific purpose. You want to make sure that you're not wasting money. You want to make sure that you're focused on things in R&D. They're actually going to produce a product or a treatment, etc., that will help people. Okay, so having a basic knowledge of this will help you answer question number 3. Number 4, do you know why we are hiring? So many PhDs forget to ask why. And you will be asked this. Why are we hiring for this position? You should get out in front of this question as well. You should ask the employer during the phone screen, a video interview, well before the site visit, why are they hiring this? But you should already have a basic idea by doing your research online. Is a new product coming out? Is a new treatment coming out that they need to support? Are they trying to ramp up R&D and innovation at the company? Is there a new CEO? Has there been a recent merger or acquisition? You need to be reading media that might explain this to you, like Fierce Biotech or Fierce Pharma. You need to be reading the company's websites, digging in, doing Google searches about the company before you show up to that site visit so you know why are they hiring. There's a reason, of course. They're trying to grow their team in some area for some purpose. And that purpose is connected to productivity and increasing profits, guaranteed. Make sure you dig in and figure out the why. 5th and finally, what does our company do? I cannot tell you how many people just don't even think to really dig into this basic question. And it's got to be something bigger than you sell products in XYZ area. Okay, imagine you're interviewing for Apple and you say, and they go, well, what do we actually do here? And you might say something very product focused, something very amateur like, you sell iPhones, right? You sell computers. You know, you might be interviewing for Pfizer and or another company that sells pharmaceuticals or biotech instruments, and you might say that, oh, they sell instruments, or you sell drugs. You got to think about it differently. Don't just think of the commodity that they're selling, but think of what they're actually selling to the individual person. Do they give the person security? Do they give the client health benefits, right? So the commodity might be a drug that a company sells, but what they're really selling to the person, what they do is they provide healthy treatments to improve people's lives. Okay, that's really the secret question that's being asked here, and what most PhDs don't think about because we get super focused on like the things that we can see and test in the real world, not like emotions or health or satisfaction, etc. Right? Apple might be selling a phone or a computer, but what they're actually trying to do is sell increased personal productivity, right, through their personal laptops. What they might be trying to do is sell increased happiness or memories, right? Why does Apple invest so much in the cameras on their phones and their iPads? Because they want people to be able to capture and share those memories and to share the pictures with people more than they would using a competitor's phone. Try to dig into this. I know it can seem complex, but that's a big part of getting an industry job, is to stop thinking like an academic, start thinking like an industry professional. And when it comes to this final question, what does our company do? Think of the practical side, the commodity, but also think of what they're selling at the end of that commodity. What emotions, activities, what benefits is it to the client to buy that product, service, or treatment? Hopefully this will help you master the answers to the business concept questions you will receive. So instead of bombing them, you will answer them correctly, you'll nail the interview, and you will get hired in industry. If you want to learn more about the interview questions you definitely will face in industry, if you're looking for your first or next industry job as a PhD, go to PhDs, gethired.com. You'll get our materials for free, and we will help you get hired. As always, remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional.